With so many massive AAA games on the market lately, sometimes we forget about the little guy until one of these underdogs rises up to the occasion and takes the world by storm. Shovel Knight, Limbo, Hades, Fall Guys, Hollow Knight, and now Vampire Survivors. These games prove that you don't need a huge budget to release a game that could capture an audience. Passion and gameplay are still the king of the video game world, and nothing could replace the fun factor people get when hopping into these games. Now, before we go into greater detail over Vampire Survivors, I would just like to take a moment and welcome anyone new to the channel. If you do happen to like what you see, please consider subscribing. I got a ton of stuff in the works and I would love to share it with you all. If you do happen to enjoy the video, be sure to let me know by hitting the like button. But we have a lot to get into, so let's get into it. Many great things start with a very humble beginning, and Vampire Survivors fits that category to a T. The game started as a free-to-play browser game that eventually made its way onto Steam, and through word of mouth, the game exploded in popularity. Streamers and users alike couldn't get enough of this game, and now that it's been recently released onto the Xbox platform and also Game Pass, the game is once again having another surge of fresh people coming to play it, and through word of mouth again, the game is popping off. The entire game was developed by a single person, Luca Clemente. I probably butchered that name, so I do apologize. This person wanted to make their own version of Magic Survival. A prototype was made, and later on the developer looked at a sprite pack that they had purchased previously, which contained monsters that resemble the creatures she faced in the Castlevania series. Once putting these new sprites into their version of Magic Survival, Vampire Survivors was born. The developer of this game said that their main focus was just to keep adding fun elements. In a world where so many games put narrative and story first and gameplay second, it is great that we finally have a game that only focuses on the fun factor. It makes playing the game super addictive and exciting, and I always look forward to picking up my controller and booting this game up. So now that we got some of the backstory out of the way, let's talk about Vampire Survivors itself. The game has a very basic graphic style with super simple controls. It has the look of a retro twin stick shooter, but you don't shoot at all. Your abilities fire automatically to random enemies on the screen. All you have to do as the player is dodge incoming attacks and the enemy sprites that try to run into your character. This may sound boring and may even look boring, but I'm going to be completely honest. I think if most people gave this game an actual chance and played it, they would realize how fun it actually is. Now, where the control scheme may be super basic, there is some depth to be had here. As you slay the monsters, they give you experience points, but you don't simply get these points by killing them. You have to pick up the points that they drop, which normally I would hate, but since this game is all about dodging and avoiding the enemy sprites and projectiles, this adds a new dynamic to the game, because not only are you dodging to stay alive, you're dodging to get the pickups to advance your character, which is actually really fun. So while the movement pattern may be very basic and simple, the game is almost all about the positioning of your character, and you do have the option of multiple characters. There's actually a decent selection, and each character starts with a basic generic attack that is different. One of the characters starts with a Castlevania style whip option, but the whip only attacks in the horizontal plane, so you want to position yourself on the sides or the edges of the monsters. Another attack would be an axe, and the axe goes up and then down, so it attacks in the vertical plane, and you want to position yourself underneath the massive horde of monsters that you're going to be facing. So positioning is one of the key opponents of the game, and depending on which character you pick changes how you're going to want to move and play around, and it actually does make a difference when you're first starting out. Once you've basically roped a doped your way around enough to pick up enough points, your character will level up. Once your character levels up, you get 3 options of different abilities that you could equip and acquire to make you slay monsters even faster. You have your option of attack ability, such things as a fireball, a lightning rod, etc., or a passive ability like more health, walking speed, attack speed, and so on. Not only do you get the options for these two things, but each attack ability and passive ability kind of have a synergy, where if you level both of them enough, your attack abilities evolve into basically a super version of themselves. Now, even though you're constantly getting stronger and killing enemies even faster, sooner or later, you're gonna die. But don't worry, when you do, you don't have to start over completely from scratch. There is an upgrade system that you use gold that you earned on your previous endeavors that you can use to upgrade passives. And these passives make your character even stronger, so you can push each map and advance further into them. As you get more powerful, you start to realize the map you're playing on is becoming easier and easier. But the game actually has a solution for this. As you're able to last longer, you start to unlock newer maps, and these new maps bring new challenges and features that you're going to have to face. The first map you play basically has no obstacles or anything interrupting your movement patterns. Later maps start to add pits or walls that kind of change how you play the game and give a whole new difficulty curve that you have to overcome. Not only do these new maps bring new obstacles, the game actually gives you small reasons to play the different maps. Relics are items that are placed on the maps that once you collect add a permanent feature to your character. Nothing too extreme, but for example, these items can unlock a bestiary or a menu map. Just little things like that. Like I said, nothing insane, but a nice little something extra that you can enjoy. Now, even though you can never actually reach a level complete screen, if you do last up to 30 minutes on a map, the game will start spawning this death boss and keep spawning these bosses until you're actually slain. So if you do last up to the 30-minute mark, it basically means you've beat that session. The game does reward you with a nice gold bonus if you make it to this point, even though you still get a game over screen and have to witness your character meeting the end of their life. So that's pretty much all the positives I have about the game, which is actually a ton. There is one complaint I do have about this game, is there are chests that drop from some of the harder enemies. These chests contain gold and a random power up for your character, which is awesome. My gripe is that once you open the chest, you have to watch this little scene play out where the game counts how much gold you just collected. Now this may be nitpicking, but honestly it's my biggest complaint about the game. Sometimes you have multiple chests in a row and you want to collect each of them, so you have to watch this scene 2 or 3 times, and it really just breaks you out of the gameplay pattern. Overall, this game is truly amazing and it's really fun to play. I have played this game on my PC, on my Xbox, and my Steam Deck, and it runs great on all these platforms. I even tried the xCloud version of the game and it runs really well, so it's a good game to play on the go. I will say I have seen online that some people have had issues with the Xbox version and they've ran into different glitches and bugs. Hopefully that gets fixed. I haven't personally seen it, but I wanted to include it in this video. The game is just simply a blast, and I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a laid-back experience that wants you to play something that doesn't require a huge time investment. But actually, when you sit down to play this, you can easily pour hours into it and get totally sucked in to the addictive gameplay loop. Anyways guys, that's all I gotta say about this. I would love to know what you guys think of Vampire Survivors. Are you enjoying it, or is it a game that you look at and simply do not understand the hype behind it? Let me know down in the comments. I always enjoy hearing everyone's thoughts on all of these matters. But I got a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to the grind and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.